This is kind of a question where it looks like an image actually, but it's not. And by the way, we are still in reading module, and let's see what happens, right? What is this flowchart? Flowchart actually is a series of boxes or steps linked by arrows. Now, how does it look? When you draw it or you visualize it, so these are the boxes, right? These are linked by arrows. This is how flowchart looks like steps, but in the form of graphics. But why do we do that? The reason for us to do it is to show a sequence of events. So let's say there's an event that happened number 1, number 2, and number 3. In order to signify this event, we'll try to form one box and write about it. Next event in next box. Or if you have 2 events concurrently happening, you can draw 2 boxes by drawing 2 separate arrows or forking them. This is also possible. So all these kinds are called flowcharts. All right. Now let me show you an example so that everything gets clear to you and there are no more doubts. And if there are, you can ask them. So this is kind of a question that you get in exam. Here we have only taken 3 questions and we have a tiny passage here on the left. In fact, the passages are huge in exam as well as the flowcharts. At least there are 6 questions. But for our practice or to understand the question type, we have taken only 3. Don't worry about that. Okay. Now, I want you to finish this type because it is only 3 questions. It contains only 3 questions. You have just like 2 minutes or 3 minutes maximum. Let's call it 2 minutes. Okay. Try to find answers as possible, as quick as possible. All right. Good luck. Let the time start now. Great, and we are back. I hope you find all the answers correctly. Let's see the solution. Solution will be here itself. For the first one, it's glucose. Second one, free radicals. And third one, preservation, not preservatives. Now you're thinking, how did we get those answers? We'll discuss them. Don't worry. If you got all correct, great, wonderful. You understand this question type. If you didn't, no problem. We'll solve it. Now, before we even proceed to next part, which is pointers, let me show you how we discussed flowchart should be and how they are. Now you see, this is a step where we have mentioned. Here we have first question, step 2. Here we have no questions though, but this is step 3. These are 2 different steps, or let's say set of information, but they are concurrent. There are no steps involved. So that's why they asked together. But you see, information is provided in form of image or graphics. That's what flowchart is actually. It's nothing more than a blank, but in a form of graphic. You got the point, right? This is what flowchart is. Now let's start with the pointer number 1, word count. What happens in word count is same as blanks, as I said previously. This kind of question is blank kind of question, and hence you have to understand in the instructions how many words are required in each blank. See, if you look at here in this question type, let me just show you the answer here. Okay, this is exactly what we needed. So no more than 2 words. If in case I find an answer, like these are the answers, right? We have 2 words. No more than 2 words means you cannot go beyond 2. It could be 1 or 2 words. All of our answers are correct because of this reason as well, because we have 2 words, 1 word, 1 word. Another reason to be correct, right? Now, what if I, instead of write free radicals, I write the free radicals? Incorrect. I know your answer, it is correct logically speaking, the free radicals, but according to the rules, it's incorrect. You got my point? I suggest you read the instructions which we have seen previously in the slide. You see that they have mentioned here, every flowchart starts with instructions. In there, they'll mention how many words are required in the answer. And then they will mention which are the question numbers. And then they'll show you the real question or real flowchart with the blanks. Okay, cool. Let's move ahead. So the next one is headings. What is the meaning of headings and why do we need to understand what headings are? Actually, headings can also be called titles, right? They are required to provide information, or they do provide information about the flowchart. So the heading or the title of the flowchart gives information about the flowchart. And with information comes answer. Let me show you here. What do I mean by headings? You see here how a caloric restriction mimetic works. What do you think this is? If you look at it, first comes instructions, then comes question numbers, and then comes the whole flowchart along with the heading or the title. This is the heading or the title. Using this title, you can guess where the answer lies, or at least where the answer starts from. Yes? Okay, good. Now, if you look here, how a caloric restriction mimetic works, you see here they have mentioned caloric restriction mimetics. That means our answer starts from here itself. I mean, the whole flowchart starts from there itself, the first sentence itself. You cannot risk it that you don't read from here. Then you go to the next one here, which is the first box of the flowchart. You got my point? And how itself is providing information that they have discussing a process. Yes? Cool. The next one is prediction, or the predictions that you have to provide to guess the answer. See how predictions can be amazing. If you look at this part, let me get rid of the passage first and the instructions, and we zoom in here so that you can see clearly. Okay. This is the heading or title we discussed just now. This is a flowchart or a box in a flowchart, or a step. Now the second one is where we need to find an answer. Here it says less blank is produced, right? What less is produced? So produce itself and something less are the words that are helping you to predict here. Something is produced but less in quantity. That means it must be a thing that is produced, or an enzyme or something like that, right? It cannot be a verb that is less. It cannot be a verb for sure. It has to be a noun. So this is called prediction. Same goes here. Cell less damaged by disease because fewer blank are emitted. Again a noun, but something which is less emitted. That means there's emission of something less. Right. Same way you have to guess the answers, or at least predict the answers when you're reading the sentence and going to the passage. Okay. Good. Now look here. For the first answer, we have glucose. As I told you, first one is a noun. Second one, also we discussed noun. We didn't discuss the third one. Look here. Cell focus on blank because food is in short supply. Also a noun. I mean, see, you might be thinking, what is this word? Actually, it is a noun. Or it could be a form of a noun. I mean, type of a noun, but it is a noun. That is preservation. Now look, if you could have guessed it without even, going to the passage, you could have guessed something less is produced, right? That's how you go to the passage, and it gets easier for you to, whatever word fits in there, you can put it there. Okay, nice. Now next comes sequence, very important and helps you a lot, again, like same as prediction. Now what is the sequence? Sequence, when you look at the question and look at the passage, the sequence of the question always matches or is always maintained as compared to the passage. What I mean by maintained is, so they have mentioned about CR mimetic here. If you look carefully here, less is produced, something which is produced less in quantity. Definitely my answer won't be before this, it has to be after that. So the answer is here, glucose, limiting food intake, caloric restriction, minimizes, see, reduces, that means less is produced. You see that where answer is glucose, we found the answer over here. Now even though there are no blanks here, you see that, still this will be definitely provided in the passage after the first one. You can see the proof here, and decreases the ATP generation. You see that? We saw first here glucose, the answer. Second is over here in the second bracket or the second item. Then eventually number second, because we have to follow the question number, not the sequence itself. Here we have first here, second here. Second one gonna come here, and then third here. So second one must be provided after that. That's my point. Right, second one must be definitely after this. It cannot go before that or in any random order. That's called sequence is being maintained. Right, so answer was free radical, which is provided over here. One possibility is, as I said here, theory 1 relates to the ATP making machinery's emission of free radicals, which are thought to contribute to aging and to such age-related disease as cancer by damaging cells. See, exactly what they have mentioned here. Cells less damaged by disease because fewer blank are emitted. Now, the last answer must be here as well. Below that, see, how did we understand where we can find the answer? We found the first one over here. Definitely our answer is below this. So we found the answer here. That means after 4 to 5 sentences. When we found the first answer, our next block of information must be after the glucose, which is here. That is after certain words. We look at the next one, definitely below this. So you got all the answers in the sequence, and it is always maintained in this kind of question. Please remember that. So once you find one answer, let's say for an example, why am I saying this is important? Let's say I couldn't find the first answer, but I found the second answer. I found the second answer over here, like this area. Should I look for the third answer here on the above it, this information? Of course not. I'll go for below this information, not above this. It is logical that if we know the sequence is maintained, we won't be going before the information or above the information. We'll be going next to the information to look for the answer. That's how sequence is helpful. All right, good. Now the next one is called short phrases. Now, this is not a tip actually, this is something that you should be cautious about. If you look at the sentences, actually these are not even sentences completely, these are phrases. This is not a full sentence, less is produced, something less is produced. So it's a very short phrase. You cannot expect a full answer, a full sentence in flowchart. Hence, your idea should be, in order to create a sequence by yourself or create a story by yourself. CRM mimetic, in which something less is produced, where production of something is decreased, that is ATP. Now, the reason for ATP to be decreased has two theories, theory 1 and theory 2. This is what we understood from the flowchart. See, finding the answer could be easy if we understand. So I think we have discussed earlier in the same video that headings or titles will help you to understand. Same way that you have to create a story using short phrases will also increase the understanding of the flowchart. Once you understand the flowchart, it's tremendously easy because you know where the first answer is by predicting and also guessing the next answer will be definitely in the sequence. Now you see how these pointers are helping you. First, you understand the passage using the title, plus you have to understand the answer all in sequence. So I have to find this one first. You look in the passage, you found it. You look for this one, you found it, and you match it according to your prediction. It works wonderful. Keep on going next, and that's how you find answer for all flowcharts. It's relatively easy kind of question in reading, in my opinion, compared to many others, but still that can happen. You know, you might get stuck later. That can happen. Don't worry about that. Okay. The last one, but very important, the reason is people don't pay attention to this. Spellings. Why it is important? Let me show you here. They have to be correct. That's the importance. I know this is a very short information about it, but with an example, it'll get clear. If you look at this, the first one, the answer is glucose, right? Instead of glucose, if I write here the spelling of glucose as G-L-U-C-U-S-E, it's incorrect. We know that you know the answer. I know that you know the answer, but examiner won't accept this answer as a correct answer because you have a spelling mistake. Instead of free radicals, if you make a mistake in spelling of radicals, incorrect. See, the good part is all the words mentioned in the passage are to be taken exactly. That means if in passage you find free radicals, you don't need to create synonym of free or radical to write the answer over here. All you have to do is put exactly where you found the answer. You don't have to change the words. So spelling mistakes are rare, but because you might think, oh, it's okay, I found the answer, I can quickly write. No, take care of the spellings as well. I don't want you to work hard in your reading. You worked hard for the whole 1 month and you go for the exam and you didn't take care of the spellings. Because of that, you got less score. You might not even know what was the reason, right? So at least eliminate the obvious ones. Then we can proceed with the next one.